I've always believed that global success can be achieved from any pocket of the world. Being here in rural Cape Breton throughout the pandemic has proven this, not just for myself, but for entrepreneurs everywhere who've adapted and found opportunities in spite of significant challenges. So many people have inspired me throughout my career and continue to every day, from small business owners to international leaders. People across our country are taking risks and betting on themselves in pursuit of their passions. I'm launching these platforms to spark conversations about what it takes to succeed in business and life. If you want to stay connected and inspired, follow along. Today, I'm going to be speaking with one of the most inspiring women that I've had the pleasure of working with, Mayor Amanda McDougall. Amanda was elected mayor of the Cape Breton Regional Municipality in October 2020, making history by becoming the first female mayor of CBRM. Mayor McDougall is a Cape Breton University graduate in political science and hails from Main-a-Dieu, a small fishing village of just 200 people on the beautiful island of Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. Shortly after taking office as mayor, Amanda, her partner Kevin, and son Ronan welcomed a new addition to their family, a beautiful little boy named Emmett. Emmett now joins his mother in the office on a regular basis and serves as a constant reminder of how decisions at the council table can impact the future. Amanda is brazen, bold, progressive, and one of the most dynamic leaders in our country. Not only is she shattering glass ceilings, but she's doing it with progressive leadership, grace, and collaboration. So excited for you to be here with me today.
I'm so excited. We are together.
We are together again. Look, 6 months since you became Cape Breton Regional Municipal Mayor, second largest region in Nova Scotia, first woman mayor, first woman pregnant mayor, first of everything. Unbelievable story. I just love this story, Amanda, and let's talk a little bit about how it all started. Tell me about your life in Cape Breton, because you've lived here all your life, I think, haven't you?
Well, so this is the tricky piece. I have spent all of my summers here as a child. My father was in the military, so we actually moved base to base. I was legit an Army brat.
Wow.
So every 2.5 years we would move. My dad was in the Navy, he went to the Air Force. Eventually we came back to Nova Scotia and stayed in Dartmouth, in Eastern Passage actually, for a long time. That was our longest stint, but really my entire life, every summer, it didn't matter where we were, we would get shipped back to Main-a-Dieu for the summer and just run amok with our 1 bajillion cousins.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how big is Main-a-Dieu?
Itty bitty. There's one road, Main-a-Dieu Road, and another road, Main-a-Dieu Road. So there's 2 Main-a-Dieu roads. There's
and a beautiful
beach.
Fishing village, right?
Yeah, and so my family really are rooted in that fishing industry, and I feel like into the development of the Fortress Louisbourg, a lot of my family members who had trades worked at the site, at the fort, as we call it, which is one of the most remarkable National Historic sites we have.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
So yeah, my family fished, they worked at the bank, they, worked at the park.
Yep.
They did all the things and reared all of us rigs.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Isn't that so? Then tell me, growing up, what did you do? You went to university here?
I
Cape Breton
did,
University?
Yeah. So I graduated from Riverview.
Yeah.
We came back.
Good school. Yay, Riverview.
Yeah. And I was, totally a Redette cheerleader, just so you know. But yeah, I graduated and I had that urge to, go somewhere. So mom and dad were like, if you want to go away for a vacation and go and experience things, you are not going to go away for university, you're going to go to CBU. And I was like, fine. So I hopped a plane, went to Australia for the summer, hung out, thought I was like, the surf beach bum, came back, went to CBU.
Yeah.
I saw my friends going off to St. Bex and different places, so I tried St. Bex, maybe enjoyed it a little too much, came back to CBU, and that's where I graduated with my degree in political science.
But why political science?
You know what? I had no idea what I was doing going into university. I didn't know what I wanted to be.
Yeah.
I wanted to be everything.
Yeah.
But that intro to poli-sci class, holy cow, I had no idea. The theory got me, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to understand why things happen in different places.
Yeah.
And it all came back to government.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So did you always want to be a leader as a young kid?
I was very bossy.
Yeah.
I remember being in Brownies and, like, you have the little badges, and I wanted that little star by my badge to be the leader of my little unit, right?
Yes.
So I was, I guess, training myself to be a leader, but I was definitely bossy.
Yeah. So did you ever tell people what you wanted to be as a little girl, as a young girl?
Oh, I wanted to be everything.
Yeah.
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 It changed frequently, and I think that works because I don't have a career per se, and I think I've had so many different experiences, and I will continue to have many experiences.
Yeah.
And that was just me. I blame my dad because moving us around that much.
Yep.
I never had that like vision of doing the same thing for 35 years.
No.
I love doing different things all the time.
So you're very curious, I can tell.
Yeah.
Yes. So you tell us a little bit about what happened after university with you before you became politically inclined.
Okay, so I took off again. I went to Milan. I went there as a nanny.
Okay.
And I stayed because I had one of those, romances with an Italian man.
That's good. Everyone should have one.
I know, it was great. It was character building. I ate good food. I studied Italian. I became a translator.
Wow.
I went to the university there and did some courses and did the equivalent of a master's program there in international relations.
Wow.
But really it came down to, my partner there and I saying, hey, are we going to spend our life together? Because we have to decide where to go, Canada or Italy. And neither of us wanted to leave our homes.
Yeah.
So I just was like, hey, thank you for this beautiful life experience.
Yeah.
Heading back to Main-a-Dieu, had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah. But living in other parts of the world, seeing Australia, spending time in Milan, I think really gives people broader perspective. As a child, a younger woman, I travel to a lot. I think I've been in 60 countries around the world.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I have learned so much. I think this is a big part of learning, don't you? And appreciating this place more and more as you come back.
That's it though. I loved Italy, I did. I loved being able to travel all over Europe so easily. But I missed the quiet. I missed the peace.
Yeah.
I remember going to the mountains and my friends being like, oh, let's go to the forest. It's so beautiful. I'm like, there's like 6 trees.
Yeah.
Like,
That's right. Lined up.
Right?
Yeah.
These are strategically placed trees.
Yes, they are.
But it wasn't until I got back home that I could breathe.
Yeah.
And I know we'll talk probably about it later, but working at Cape Breton University and doing the work I did around immigration and hearing other folks that come here as newcomers saying, there is so much opportunity. It's a blank slate.
Yeah.
This island is a blank slate because there's a ridiculous amount of natural resources. There's this creativity that is unparalleled. Yeah.
Very innovative. Islanders are all very innovative anyway, but this island is particularly innovative.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It really is.
And there's this motivation. Like there's this, everybody wants to do better in Cape Breton, right?
Yeah.
So they're always trying out new things.
Yeah.
And I think I just came home at the right time.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
What year did you come home?
I was just thinking about this. I think it was 2009.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrific. The financial crisis, if I recall.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting time
and
to come
I was
on.
like a broke university student, so it didn't even affect me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So
but
I came
look,
home.
this is the land of opportunity. Huh? And it's my parents who were immigrants, came here, Dutch immigrants. They saw this place as, some people would have thought this farm to be a rock pile. My father thought it was the most beautiful place in the world. And he grew grass and we had cattle and we milked cows. And I'll tell you, it gave us a wonderful life. It really did. Yeah. And so people I love your optimism. I love your optimism about Cape Breton. I think that really translated into one of the big reasons why you became the mayor of this great region. So let's go back.
Okay.
Okay, where are you? You're back from Milan.
Back
Tell me
home.
what you're doing.
What am I doing? I'm living for the very first time by myself in this little tiny house in Main-a-Dieu.
Yeah.
There were a couple mice there, so I got a cat.
Yeah.
So me and this cat, Nellie, are trying to figure out our lives.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that next door to my house is the former school in Main-a-Dieu.
Okay.
And just for people listening, I say Main-a-Dieu. It's actually French. It's Main-a-Dieu, but we don't use that accent. We totally Main-a-Dieu it up.
Yeah.
So the former school is there. The community turned it into a community center. They didn't have anybody to do any grant writing, things like that. I thought, okay, let's volunteer. Let's try this out.
Yep.
That turned out to be my first job here because I wrote some grants, got some money, and we started a little seniors cafe. We had activities, the library's there. And that's where I started working in Cape Breton.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So it was really community, connecting with the community. That's where you started, huh?
100%.
Making something good for the community. You know, one of the things that I did when I was a little bit younger than you were, I really believed in this community too, and we started this organization called Vision, and there was a whole bunch of us that were trying to create jobs and, you know, bring prosperity, right, to Cape Breton, and so that community piece is so strong in Cape Breton. I think that's one of your great skill sets. That first job, I think, molded you into the person that you are today. So let's go. What did you do after that? On from there.
Well, there's one experience from being at the Main-a-Dieu Community Development Association that really, I feel like, that triggered my future.
Okay.
So there was this huge bulk carrier that left Ontario that was heading to Turkey to be scrapped, the MV Minor.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This giant boat
Yeah.
takes sail during hurricane season in the Atlantic. So yeah, that was problematic.
Yeah.
Broke the tow line and ran aground on Scattery Island, which is just off of Main-a-Dieu. So I remember two of my dearest friends and their professors that live out in Main-a-Dieu, Liam Broadhead and Sean Howard, we were sitting around a table one day and we're like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
How are we gonna get rid of this boat? And I'm like, beats me. And we ended up campaigning and fighting to get that ship removed for 4 years.
Wow.
The end result was a $12 million bill because it was a remarkable mess.
Yeah.
It was an environmental catastrophe waiting to happen because there were so many pollutants and what have you on it.
Yeah.
But listen, that is why I'm in politics because I went to so many different ministers, elected officials, bureaucrats, and they just looked at me with such, what are you doing here, kid?
Yeah.
You know, who are you?
Yeah.
Come on, we'll listen to you. But yeah, no, we got that done. We got it cleaned up. It was an incredible, incredible feat.
What an achievement. Who ended up paying for this? Federal government?
No, the provincial government did. The federal government should have because they were the ones who issued the permission really for this to happen.
Yeah.
But this process has actually inspired new federal legislation around ships leaving our waters, going into other waters. So now you have to prove that you have insurance.
Okay.
Imagine,
yes.
You have to make sure that there's this green passport and ensuring that there are no pollutants or floatables or things like that on board.
Yeah.
So, you know, this little tiny fishing village of about 200 people has influenced federal legislation.
Yeah.
And I thought,
wow,
that is powerful.
Amanda McDougall's done that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Love it. I love the history of this. So you got the boat removed. What did you do next?
I got the bug.
Got the bug.
I got the bug. I, in 2012, ran for council.
Yep.
It was a remarkable failure.
That's
It
good.
was hilarious.
Failures are great for great success. I know this.
Oh my gosh, Emmett. I really wish you could have seen me with my little book bag. And I remember wearing this little brown hat and like knocking on doors, not knowing what the hell I was doing. And I went to Broughton Road. And if anybody knows Broughton Road, it is like the land that was, I guess you could say. There used to be a hotel. It was this huge piece, like community linked to mining. And since mining is gone, it's just a dirt road with houses on it. Yeah. And I knocked on this door and this guy, Leonard Dean, was like, "You're the first politician I've ever seen knock at my door. I'll vote for you." Yeah. And I'm like, all right, okay, I'm doing good. I'm doing great here. I'm getting votes. Yeah, no, dead last.
great. That's great. But what an experience. Huh? Yeah. So what did you do after that?
I put my nose to the ground, I guess. I started working at Cape Breton, which is an environmental nonprofit. I worked in their education department and started to kind of get myself out there wider. Really love and passionate about environmental challenges.
Super.
So that was amazing. Eventually went to Cape Breton University to work on the Rural Urban Immigration Pilot. And ran for council again.
Yes.
And I won.
That's right. So what did you do differently this time?
I got a team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Isn't that a concept?
Yeah. Got a team. Yeah. I mean, it was a small team.
Yeah.
It was still, just a few of my buddies, but had more of a strategy. Had a better idea what I was up against because the boundaries had changed and there was an incumbent in there. And I knew how to differentiate myself from him. And I think that's what did it.
And so did you have targets? Did you define what you were running for?
100%.
Okay, tell me what you ran for then.
What did I run for then? Definitely looking at the opportunities in our community.
Yes.
So I noticed in a lot of campaigns it was always like negative and putting each other down. And so I knew from the get-go that's just not me.
No.
Definitely things like connecting with people, having town hall meetings, using social media because there is value to it instead of looking at it as a negative as well. It was just really simple stuff. And, I squeaked by. I won by 57 votes.
Good for you.
And you want to know the funny thing?
What?
I remember that night because I was at the community center in Main-a-Dieu where, my whole life started. There were 57 people in that room. And I won by 57 votes.
Wow.
Isn't that bizarre?
Wow.
I know.
That's ironic.
Totally trippy.
So that was in what year?
That's 2016.
2016. Wow. Were there 3 women councillors at that time?
Yeah, myself, Kendra Coombs from New Waterford, and Erlene McMullen from the North Side.
Yeah. Terrific. And so Erlene's still in, isn't she?
She sure is.
She sure is. And the other lady is become an MPP, correct?
Well, yeah, Kendra Coombs.
Yeah, Kendra. Yeah.
She ran in the by-election, and she's the NDP MLA for the New Waterford area.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. That was.
And she had a baby while she was on council too.
Yeah. That's sort of a theme here. Having babies, and you can do it all.
We call it population stabilization.
Yeah, that's terrific. That's true. And as a matter of fact, the population for the first time in Cape Breton has changed to a positive number as opposed to a negative number. And that's very cool. It really is. So let's. I'd love to talk a little bit about this time around and how you became mayor, because the incumbent was 8 years in the position. You were the first woman. You had 4 years as councillor, 3 years as councillor. Tell me about your strategy. Tell me how it all happened.
You know how this happened. I tell this story often, Annette. So I was obviously pregnant at the time. We were still in this, I feel like the early days of COVID, really. I was unsure because I was back at Cape Breton part-time as the executive director. Pregnant after, some really tough fertility trials and unsure, we were all unsure about so many things. So Kevin, my partner, and I talked a lot. Is this the time to do it? Excuse me. Is this the time for me to run? Because we have a growing family. We have this existing family. It's going to be crazy. Oh gosh, should I do it? And we weren't getting anywhere. And I remember, so, we're part of this group, CV Voices, which I know we'll talk about. And we went to gather safely. And you sat in the living room and I was sitting there on my belly and you're like, okay, Amanda, let's talk about your mayoral campaign. I'm like, I guess that's it. I think we're doing it. But it was that room of women supporting me that made me feel like I could say, yes, I can do this. I can do this.
You know what? And I'll tell you, Cape Breton Voices is such an interesting story, isn't it, Amanda? I mean, you were part of the very beginning of it.
That very first meeting in this room.
In this room, huh? Remember that? That was, is that 4 or 5 years ago? At
4
least
years.
4
Definitely
years.
4 years.
Yeah, yeah. And so this story is about a bunch of women that have come together, that really, from all walks of life, all kinds of diversity, and have really, sort of helped each other grow in the development of their careers or whatever they wanted to do. Can you and I talk a little bit about Cape Breton Voices and how you've been impacted by that?
It's changed everything. So you know how I talked about the first time I ran for council doing things on my own unsuccessfully, but then finding a team second time around and being successful. That is what Cape Breton Voices does. We collectively have this shared vision, I feel, that we just want to see our community grow and we want to see beautiful things happen. But we also know that takes really, really hard friggin' work, right?
Hard as hell.
Like so hard, especially when, you're dealing with a community that's used to this, big industrial boom and they're waiting for that to come back. And they might not see the same vision of innovation and small business and, creativity being our future.
Right.
Yeah, so CB Voices, like you said, is, well, really your brainchild of just bringing brilliant people together to support one another.
Yeah, but you saw that positive, you were inspirational during the campaign. You were supported, there's no question, but I love your positive attitude, Amanda. And I never changed over the years. I come back here, I don't live here anymore. I live in Toronto, but I've lived here the last year. But I love that can-do attitude.
Yeah.
You don't look through the rearview mirror. Like life has changed. The new world, the emerging markets are really exciting, I think. And what the pandemic has done is it's made many of us discover that we could sort of spend more time here and work here and do everything here with the digitization of what's happening. And so I love your attitude, your optimistic, positive attitude. And that's what drew a lot of people to you. It really, really did. Huh? Yeah.
I think so. I do. To say it was easy would be a lie. It was probably one of the hardest campaigns I've ever participated in, especially being 37, being pregnant, going up against the status quo. That was tough. And you've seen it. I mean, there was some really horrible, sexist, misogynistic commentary around there. Even, what shocked me the most though was, maybe it was a fear of change, but even women saying, how on earth is she ever going to do this?
Exactly.
She's pregnant. She's not going to be a good mother or a good mayor. And that gets in your head.
It
does. So you need that group of people around you to remind you, hey, you got this. You can do this. You're doing the right thing. Don't listen to the loud. Stay focused on the facts.
And that was so brilliant in how you managed that. You never got into the battles. You never let yourself go there, right? And I think that you've got great inner strength, great confidence in yourself, Amanda. And I think that really, really helped you. And you know what? It demonstrated to a lot of Cape Bretoners that you demonstrated that change needed to happen. You demonstrated that the status quo is not going to work anymore. Throwing rocks at Halifax and at Ottawa is not the answer. Maybe partnering with these other groups and other businesses, is the answer. And I love your attitude towards Cape Breton Island. I love the potential that you see in Cape Breton Island. I love the focus you're putting on entrepreneurs, and because that's one of the things that the Voice is really focused on. Remember that? Remember that study that we did, and the conference that we had with 50 women entrepreneurs from all around the island, and that was just so cool. It really was. And out of that came amazing success stories, right? Whether it's Anchor Ideas, whether with the Danielle Johnson and Danielle Patterson, whether it was Jill McPherson and her great
the cider room.
The cider rooms. Oh God, she's doing, and it's just happening all over the place. Kaylee and her greens. Like, it's just everywhere, and everybody is seeing that they can do this. And I think you're the inspiration. You are the inspiration that makes people see they have enormous capacity. I've always felt women in Cape Breton blow me away. They're all quite beautiful people, but they're smart as hell. And they have been underestimated, and they haven't participated enough in leadership. But man, is that changing, huh?
Like rapid, crazy change in leadership. Yeah.
Isn't it? Huh?
Yeah.
It's really turned. Huh? Look at the leaders that we have.
Yeah.
Beth Mason
at the Fisherman Center.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
All the wonderful people that I'm seeing take up leadership positions.
So, do you know what's neat about City Hall?
What?
When I have meetings with administration, so you have myself as mayor, my CAO, Marie Walsh, my CFO, Jennifer Campbell, my clerk, Deborah Campbell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all women.
Yeah.
And then anytime we have to reach out to our community stakeholders, we have Kathleen Richardson at the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
We've got Carla Arsenault at the Partnership. Erica Shea, who's the president and CEO of New Dawn.
Yeah.
This is, it is a really amazing time to be in community leadership.
Yeah, it really is. And one other outcome, I always remember that the loan program. Remember the credit union came up with that loan program?
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing stuff. We did that as a group. And so the entrepreneurship was big amongst the Cape Breton Voices. The other thing that was big was getting people in political positions, right? And boy, what a success story that the Cape Breton Voices have in having you as mayor. Oh my God, it really is so exciting. It's so exciting. Tell me, what do you see? And I think you just recently finished a strategic planning day.
We did the most controversial strategic planning there ever was.
I couldn't believe it. Yes, I was listening to it on the radio, and it was so bad, but wasn't it good?
It was incredible.
Good? It was incredible. Tell me, because I remember you talked about this right at the time that you became the mayor, and you wanted people to participate and contribute to the discussion on what the future of this island should be, right? And it was so cool. And I know it took a little while to pull off, but you did, and you had a 3-day event. Tell me a little bit about that and what you see come out of that.
I'll give you a little kind of lead up to it. Having been elected in October, had a baby in November, we had anticipated doing our strategic planning in January once I was back in the office after having Emmett. But of course, COVID kind of blew that out of the water. We couldn't gather in numbers over 10, and we have 13 alone in council, not to include our directors. So we had to postpone it for a while, but I'm kind of grateful for that. It gave us an opportunity to do some education in the meantime. So we did a bit of orientation with council and kind of gave them the resources and the know-how to be a councillor. That grassroots stuff that I feel like is super duper important. And then we had a couple of council meetings. We started to feel out the dynamic, and I'm not going to lie, it was not going great. You could already see some of the old school politics coming into play, the factions being formed, and I was like, this is just not going to work. This is the stuff of years gone by. We can't start like this.
No.
So you know what, when we had the opportunity to do the strategic planning session, we chose a local business, the Lakes. They've invested tremendously in this space. They're growing every single day. They're doing amazing things for our community. So we can't meet in chamber council or council chamber. Let's go and support a local business.
So good that you supported local business, because it is a great, beautiful place.
It's an amazing place.
It's an amazing place.
But I saw the hesitancy from some of my council members right then. They were like, no, we're not going to go stay out overnight. We don't want to have any associated expenses. We don't want people to scrutinize us. And I'm like, no, I'm staying. Do what you want, but this is really important stuff. We need to get together. And so, they started to buy in. And at the first day, what we did was we brought in people from the community to get us in the headspace of what's happening on the ground. So we had the partnership come in and talk about economic development. We had big business, Colburn,
come in.
Right? Come on in and tell us, what is it like to do big business in Cape Breton?
Yeah.
We had Dr. Luke's, our wonderful coffee house downtown, tell us what it's like to do business as a small business.
Yeah.
We had the Ally Center, who deal with some of the most vulnerable people in our communities, explain to us what's happening in terms of addictions, homelessness. We had Dr. Monica Duck come in and tell us, what do we have to do to be a healthy community? So
wonderful. Social and economic issues, right?
Everything.
Discussed, right?
Right.
Both.
We had to do that. And you know, some of the council members were like, why are we doing this? None of this is a municipal jurisdiction. And I'm like, exactly. Start thinking about how the decisions we make in council impact everybody around us. Right. This is what we have to think about. And that evening, after all of the presentations were said and done, we gathered just as a council. And, you know, I opened it up and said, look, it's been rocky. We're new. It's COVID. We're not meeting regularly in person. We don't have this dynamic yet that is healthy and trusting of one another. I was the first to admit that I was probably not doing the job that I was capable of doing. I tried to take too much on after I had the baby. I wanted to prove, you know, I could do everything on my own, and I wasn't giving the opportunity to my council members to help me and to delegate and to be a good leader. So put it out there, apologized, told them all, I have the most crazy amount of respect ever for you all. I'm sorry I haven't been the leader that you wanted. Let's do things differently from now on. And it just changed.
It's because they're engaged now. They're part of the solution. And if you don't engage people around you, you can't accomplish things on your own. You proved that once, right? When your first attempt at election, right? And so look, really important, really, and you know, it's not conquer and divide. It's inclusive leadership. Let's decide on the things that are important for the future of Cape Breton Island. And let's talk about strategies associated with those. I think it's, look, I love the story, and I think your relationship with the counselors has really changed, you know. And I saw Beth Mason make a presentation the other night, and I thought, look, that's just really, the reaction from everybody was phenomenal. People don't know what's happening on this island. It's so exciting. There is so much happening, and we have to educate ourselves. We have to think more broadly about what's happening on the island, and so and CBRM, you know, is critical here. But I love how inclusive you are. I love how you're reaching out to other mayors. I love how you're reaching out to the municipalities, because you know what, we are one island. We really are, and we have so much potential. So let's just switch gears just for a second. Emmett and Ronan, two beautiful children, and Kevin, your partner, I know how much you love family. I know.
Oh my guys.
So tell me, what has it been like having a child during this whole period, having that child, giving birth, you know, becoming a mayor in the middle of all of this. Tell us about how you managed this part.
I think birth was the easy part. Yeah, totally. It is not easy. I kind of alluded to before, that worry in the back of your head, always wondering, what am I failing at today, because I'm trying to do so many things. And I don't know, I've learned to be a little bit more graceful with myself and say, look, it's okay. There is no book on how to be a mayor, how to be a mom, how to be a partner, how to be anything, especially all at once in the world of COVID. Holy cow. But again, the same as I said to my council members, I have to take a step back and realize the strengths that are around me and the support that's around me. I've done the same with my family. So if you can imagine, my little funny mom, Anna Knish bred, little Main-a-Dieu. She bops around City Hall with that baby, helping me out every day. And my dad's in there too, you know, this ex-military fisherman, you know, playing with these babes. Ronan is 7 and remarkably proud. He doesn't exactly know what a mayor does, but he thinks it's pretty cool. Emmett is a joy. And I think, you know, so Emmett was born with Down syndrome, and that has kind of added another layer. My child is so healthy and beautiful and happy, but it adds another piece of my worry. My mind has to be there too. I have to always be prepared and educate myself and learn these things too. So It's not easy.
No.
It's not easy.
What you discover, though, I think, my experience is that you have to take care of yourself first. And you are figuring that out because you are a great mom. You're a great mayor. You're doing all the right things. You're doing it with grace. But you have this inner confidence, and you keep working at that. You keep trying to figure out how I can be better at this. And you know what? You are a great mom. That child and Ronan are the luckiest young children in the world. They really are. And so I think, don't feel guilty. Feel like you have such an opportunity here, which you do. You're going to be good. You are good at everything. and I think you demonstrate to many women with this achievement that the capacity of young women, young women. I called you young because you really are. I'm past tense, but I just think there is such an exciting opportunity for, and I see this change happening in Cape Breton. I see women really taking a forward stand, really taking risks, really, getting out there and getting more confidence in themselves. And I think that's what's exciting. There's great men doing it too, but you know what? Women were underrepresented. We need to increase that, and it is happening today.
My goodness, really are we ever doing it here, hey?
Are we ever doing it here?
Oh, it's amazing.
Huh? Yeah. And you're leading the pack. And you know what? I'll tell you, it's such a contribution to the island. The diversity of men and women working together, there's nothing better. Nothing.
This is it.
Nothing better. No,
There's
isn't.
this feeling in City Hall, and I will toot my horn about this. I know the kind of breath of, okay, things are different.
Yeah.
But I walked in there the first day, and I could feel a change. And I know that sounds kind of corny, but there was a staff member who came to me and was like, "Oh, hey, Mayor, do you mind if I do a little research around the Sydney Downtown Library project? Like, I feel like there's some things I want to work on. Is it okay?" And I said to him, I'm like, "Do you know that
asked me.
As the mayor, I can't tell you what to do. I have one staff member who's my CAO. You go do your job and be creative and bring it back to council." And I saw his face, and he was like, "Oh, okay, I'll do that then."
Not great.
Right? So
you've empowered people.
Just go be creative.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you empower people and engage people, they own it. And I see this in business all the time. The best companies are those where men and women are running them. The best organizations have the diversity at the table to really reflect the differences of opinion and produce a better product and service, quite frankly. And that's proven, and this is being proven in government. And the federal government, where half the cabinet are women. I think that's all extraordinarily exciting, I think, and the advantage Canada has if the participation of women gets higher is enormous. It really is. And so, you're proving that we can do it all. And it's not easy.
No.
But are you happy?
I'm having a ball.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. I mean, I know that you got a crazy life, but you're happy. And to me, happiness will be such a benefit to this island. I love that you don't let people suck the energy out of you. I love how you manage this whole lakes thing, because I heard you on CBC radio, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this woman, like the negativity towards, you're changing that and taking the negative energy into positive energy, Amanda. Taking that negative history into positive future. Oh my God. The world is our oyster if we decide to make it our oyster.
Yeah, and you have to be, if you're in a position of leadership, you have to be a leader, right? So if people, for example, the lakes, our strategic planning session, there's this outrage of, I can't believe you're wasting taxpayer money going out to a resort for 3 days. This is the time of COVID. We've got remarkable rates of poverty in the community. You take that and say, okay, I get it. I get your fears. This is exactly why we're doing strategic planning. And here is what our expected outcomes will be. here's the expenses, which were $4,200. So a very small investment in the grand scheme of things when it comes to a good solid plan that we can all work on together and be held accountable to. But remind people that, you know, we're doing this to bring us all better, to a better place.
To a better place.
We are trying our hardest, and we have to be educated. That has been something that I've done. It's funny, I get some remarks from staff and council. They're like, wow, we just have a lot of meetings and education. I'm like, it's never going to end.
No, good.
So get used to it, because we have more meetings, more opportunities to learn than ever before. Right. So we've got diversity folks coming in to help us be better, help us be more mindful. Yeah. I've got 2 new positions created in the mayor's office. One is a community consultation coordinator, so we actually know how to consult better on municipally led projects, and have a standard, right? Yeah. So you're not like willy-nilly running around, have no idea, and people are pissed. We also have an Indigenous municipal advisor. Yeah. We have, I think it's fair to say, done a pretty terrible job at recognizing and valuing the importance of the First Nations communities on this island.
Absolutely.
And how we can do better. And look at the Truth and Reconciliation report and start implementing some of those recommendations. So all of this stuff.
So exciting.
Yeah.
So important, Amanda. So critical. Tell me, where do you see the biggest opportunities for the island? Say if we could go to have our crystal ball and be out 5 years or 10 years, tell me what this place feels like and looks like. Where do you think we can really grow?
I know it's our small businesses.
Yeah.
I know it. So again, going back to the history of Cape Breton, so we had the steel plant, we've got coal mining, it all comes to a crazy abrupt end, everybody is horribly upset and destitute, right? What got us through that? It was the creative sector, it was tourism, it was small businesses.
It's true.
It was our fisheries. And essentially, if you think about lobster fishing, for example, in Main-a-Dieu, a little village of 200 people, there are 62 boats. Wow. That is 62 small businesses.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah.
That is what we have to focus on, and it's beautiful what is happening now, because if you look at our downtown, for example, all of the small businesses are supporting one another, and that makes people want to support them.
Exactly.
You know, you've got this groundswell of pride and excitement, people want to walk around with the Island Folk Cider House sweater on, because you're like, I love cider, I love my friend Jill, look at her business, this is amazing, and it's so easy to buy into because it's so authentic.
Exactly. And you know, I was one of those people. I was a development officer. I was trying to find, you know, this was the absentee owners all left, and then the absentee owner became the federal government and provincial government in the place of the steel plant. And I saw, when I was a young woman, I saw what a sewing machine could do for a crafter. What a bakery, a small bakery could do for a community. I saw what a sawmill could do. I saw what the fisheries could do, and I thought, small is beautiful, right? And I think we lost it. We keep looking for the big, gigantic company to come here. It's not going to happen. I'd rather 10 companies with 20 people than one company with 200 people.
It's so much healthier.
It's so much healthier. And if one goes, there are others that will be created, right? And so to me, I just think I love the focus of emerging markets, opportunities, small business growing, scaling up, being extraordinarily successful. I just think the world is your oyster. I really do.
Well, and we had to be honest, though, Annette. I'm kind of spoiled in the sense that I've come into this role at a time that I feel like nobody anticipated in the Cape Breton Regional Municipality. So we have the Nova Scotia Community College moving to the waterfront.
Right.
Our housing market is just like the roof has been blown off.
That's right. Not a house to be found. Not a house to be found in Cape Breton.
No. We are living in the safest place in North America, if not part of the world. I'm completely spoiled. I am completely spoiled. It is so easy to take the reins and say, okay, let's keep going on this positive trajectory because it's there, it's happening.
Yeah.
You cannot buy commercial space right now.
No, I know.
It's all sold. It's all sold.
It's amazing.
Things are happening.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest role I have to play right now is making sure that we stay focused.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do as a municipality? We really have to keep pushing for more autonomy.
Yeah.
We need a charter that allows us to be, you know, the dictators of our own future.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of power because we're babies of the province, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So we need a charter that says we can work with businesses around tax incentives.
Yeah.
We need to be able to make decisions when it comes to population and immigration.
That's right.
We need a municipal nominee program here.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I'm going to be focusing on heavily in the next 4 years.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Because you will create a place where people will want to come and live and work and bring up their families,
And be heard.
and be heard and be heard.
And be heard.
Absolutely. And have a vehicle to be heard. And so I just think this has been such an exciting time. And you know what? Things are lined up, no question. And we're lucky to have all the things you just described, Amanda. But if we didn't have you leading municipally as our mayor, it would take longer to get where we're going to get to, let me tell you. You go 5 times faster than any other person I know. And I think that is what's really exciting. The world is, this time, you know, in my career, the next 5 years will go faster than my last 25 years. And you are positioned beautifully to push the needle and take this community with you, and recognize the economic and social issues that need to be addressed. I love your thinking. I love your strategy. You are really something else.
Well,
wow.
Annette, I've learned from the best, my dear. Your guidance and your mentorship, your support and your faith in me, that is the stuff. That is the stuff that makes good leaders.
Yeah.
And I bring it back to the voices. You know, you put us in this room together and none of us knew what we were doing. We didn't know. We had no idea what would come of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have this incredible network of women, right?
Yeah.
And we're all connected to men too.
Yes, we are. Yep.
But we have this incredible network of women that I look to for honesty. And I think that's something that's really, really hard to find in this day and age with social media and whatever, and not being face to face and having to look people in the eye and say things. I know I can go to this group and say, here's my idea, and I can get the most honest feedback that I would ever be able to get, right?
Yeah.
You have to have that.
Yeah.
And you've been honest with me in all of my decisions going forward. And there's times that perhaps you're like, Amanda, hold back. You're a little off the rails here. And I know because of the strength of our friendship that is not a negative thing.
No.
This is something I need to learn from this moment.
Absolutely.
So that's what you created. Yeah. And when you have that network of people around you that you can rely on, man, you can do good things.
Yeah. Look, and I'm only one piece of that, one element of that. And again, it is the broadness of this network, you know, whether it's Indigenous issues with the Cape Breton Voice team that, you know, with 3 representatives of the Indigenous community, whether it's, you know, the immigrants, like all these things, you've got a whole wonderful network that's feeding you. And just keep letting it feed you.
Right.
Keep asking for it, because you are going to make the best decisions as a mayor in the country. This is such a treat. Thanks for coming to this show. You are inspiring women across the country. You're inspiring opportunity across the country. I love your optimism. We are so lucky to have you, and I can't wait to see what you're going to create in the next 10 years.
I'm so excited to do this alongside of you.
Well,
you know, I'm so grateful for your friendship and for you and your generosity to our communities in terms of helping spread the good word, right? Like, there's so much education that needs to be had about all of this amazing potential, and you are our beacon right now. So thank you.
You are my beacon. Great to have you.
Just
Thank
love
you.
you.